Do you know what an apartheid is?
No, I do not.
What would you guess it is?
An apartheid? I would guess some type of animal.
Animals? Do you know what an apartheid is?
Apartheid is, I think it's a ship that brought slaves over.
Do you know what an apartheid is?
No, I don't.
What would you guess it is?
Something to do with animals and making a habitat.
Do you know what an apartheid is?
It sounds really familiar. I mean, I'm inclined to say, oh no, that sounds really morbid. I'm inclined to say that it's like, I don't know, something about people dying.
Do you know what an apartheid is?
Yeah.
Apartheid?
What is
Apartheid?
it? Yes.
It was that horrible mistreating massacre thing that went on in South Africa of the black people, and it was kind of bad, and no one liked that very much.
Is it occurring now?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll seek you out, flay you alive. One more word and you won't survive. And I'm not scared of your stolen power. See right through you any hour.
Do you think America supports countries that protect the individual's rights?
I think America supports countries who is in their best interest, regardless if they do support people's rights or if they don't. America just cares if it's going to be a financial plus or a negative.
Do you believe that America supports Israel in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict?
Of course, it's obvious to the nations of the world that they do.
And just in time, in the right place, suddenly I will play my ace. I will soothe your pain.
Would you ever marry someone of a different ethnicity?
Yes, I definitely would. I think personally that would actually be very interesting because then they would have a different cultural background than you. And that might be a reason why many people wouldn't do so, because their cultures would be too different. But for me, I actually think that'd be very interesting.
Would your parents have a problem if you married someone of a different race or ethnicity?
No, they definitely wouldn't. We've actually had this conversation, and they are totally fine with it as long as it's a good person. They don't have any issues with it.
If there was one race or ethnicity that your parents would have the most apprehension about, which one would it be?
I feel like they'd all be pretty equal, but if I had to pick one specific race, probably Hispanic.
And why Hispanic?
I feel like there's just a stereotype in America about maybe Mexican. I don't feel like my parents personally believe that. They're not very ignorant. They're very open-minded people. But if I had to pick one that maybe parents in general would have the most issue with, it's just that there's just that stereotype of Hispanics, and they happen to be generally born into a lower socioeconomic status. It's just more the American stereotype against them.
Would you be opposed of marrying someone outside of your race?
No, I would not. Because I think if you fall in love, you can't help who you fall in love with. So even if it's somebody from another race, like if I really love that person, I would marry them.
Would your parents be opposed for you marrying outside of your race?
Yes, they definitely would. They're really Indian, and they want me especially to marry somebody with the same religion and background so that I could carry on their values to the next generation.
Which race would your parents be most opposed of? Or opposed to?
Unfortunately, as our history in America has shown as well, they'd be most opposed to me marrying an African American.
Would you be opposed to marrying someone outside of your race?
No, not at all. I don't think, like, your race should determine who you marry. Like, I wouldn't just marry someone who's from India.
Would your parents be opposed to you marrying outside of your race?
No, I don't know. I think they wouldn't be opposed to it, but they would definitely want me to marry someone who was Indian. Like, they would prefer that. But it's not like they would disown me or, like, remove me from the family or something. They would definitely, like, express their, like, dislike or, like, concern over it. But at the end of the day, it's my choice.
What race or ethnicity would your parents have the most problem with?
I mean, if I was going to marry someone from Pakistan or something like that, I don't think they would be for that, just because Pakistan and India have just had so many problems. But it doesn't really matter what the other race is. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it doesn't really, they're not really opposed to, like, a certain race. They're just opposed to, like, the general idea of, like, any race besides Indian.
So
If
Indian
I were
is
to marry any race besides Indian.
So Indian is preferable.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because it's just when you have the same religion and the same like morals and the same like family background as someone else, I think they just believe that it's just so much easier to like live a happy life, and I guess they see that like marrying someone outside your race would just create so many problems. Like there's like language barriers, of course. There's just like there's just a different feel with people that aren't like of the same race as you, and you feel so much more like love and compassion towards people who have like the same like are of the same background. So yeah.
Spare me your judgments and spare me your dreams, 'cause recently mine have been tearing my seams. I sit alone in this winter clarity which clouds my mind, alone in the wind and the rain you left me. It's getting dark, darling.
Alright. Jonathan Capehart says that Muslim is the new black. Do you agree?
I wouldn't connotate it as that. I think that's kind of harsh in a way by saying it's the new black. I don't know, like I think that there is discrimination going on, but I don't think it's as severe as it was with African Americans.
In June, Herman Cain said that he would not hire a Muslim because, quote, there are militant Muslims, those who are trying to kill us. What does this say about Americans?
That they're stereotypical, and he's being like the stereotypical American. So I don't know. It's just an ignorant statement.
Jonathan Capehart said that Muslim is the new black. Do you agree?
You can definitely see similarities between those two minorities being marginalized as blacks were during the 60s and 70s. We can definitely see this new trend emerging after 9/11, of course. So, but in a lot of ways, the racism isn't as overt. It's less like in your face, and It's more like half-whispered glances, chuckle jokes. And actually, one of the things is that Muslims they don't comprise the numbers in America to really become the new blacks. So, like, some areas in America are extremely, extremely white. So yeah, the Muslim people are not as pervasive throughout America. But you can, as immigrants do come in, there definitely we'll begin to see a lot more similarities between the persecution of the two peoples.
Okay. In June, Herman Cain said that he would not hire a Muslim because, quote, there are militant Muslims, those who are trying to kill us. What does this say about America?
Specifically, that's extremely ignorant. It comes from a basic logical fallacy. Like, just because 99% of terrorists are Muslim, that doesn't mean 99% of Muslims are terrorists, you know? So yes, most terrorists are Muslim, but to then say that you wouldn't hire a Muslim because he may be a terrorist, that's just stupid. So I guess it just comes back down, once again, to a basic religious persecution.